On today's show, it's frenzied fishing and fine times as the In-Fisherman staff travels into the field for smallmouths, lake sturgeon, and a host of fish from our inshore waters. And we begin with an early season look at river fishing for smallmouth bass. It was early day writer James Henschel who called the smallmouth bass pound for pound the gamest fish that swims. Today's action takes place in Minnesota on the upper Mississippi River. Let's have a look at finesse tactics in action.
Shoulders this thing has.
Today I'm fishing with Luke Swanson of Livin the Dream Guide Service, and we're starting the day off with a bang. How about that, buddy?
Oh, I love this time of year. Here we go. And, there she is.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now that's a pre-spawn smallie right there. All right, so the first spot fishing right here is some fast-moving water coming out. It's got a lot of oxygen, it's got rocks, but it's also that pre-spawn area for those fish to come up. So we're just a couple days away from them coming up to spawn. Those fish are getting ready, and they are fat and they're happy.
There we go. That is a beautiful smallmouth bass. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about some easy techniques on light gear to get some presentations in shallow water for pre-spawn smallmouth. Let's get this one put back. Big old smallmouth. So much fun. Thanks, Mama. How about that?
All right, man.
Let's get another one.
Yeah, it's my turn now.
I don't know about that.
I gotta catch up to you here. Oh, that's a big one.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Oh man, look at that fish.
These are such an incredible fish to catch. This is a fun time of year. When these fish go on beds, they're not eating, right? They're defending their prey.
Correct.
We're here early and we're feeding them baits that imitate crawfish and small minnows. I'm gonna show you a little bit about how we're catching them, but Luke's gonna put this sucker back.
Look at that thing. Woo!
So let me talk to you a little bit about what we're using today. I've got a handmade, homemade, do-it molds Ned rig, and a 3/16 up to a 1/4 ounce is a good option as well. I've got that rig with a Berkley Maxcent Little Trooper, and this is a small micro craw imitation that's built for a Ned rig, and this is a handmade from a do-it molds 3/16 ounce Ned rig, so it stands up, nice sharp hook on it. And the color this time of year as the crawfish are hatching or as they're young, they come out orange, right? This is where you want to maximize the presentation, match the hatch, if you will. Luke is doing something a little bit different, using a hair jig. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so in the river, I mean, they're eating crayfish and bugs. So this is a hand-tied marabou hair jig, a do-it molds head on it, a couple feathers in back. This is one of my favorite jigs in the springtime. You can work it slow. It's got a lot of movement with this marabou on there.
I've got one other option to show you about another presentation. So during the pre-spawn, bass are looking to feed as heavily as possible. It's a rigorous time, so they're eating larger baits. What we're using are small, they're relatively easy to cast, but I like to upgrade sometimes to a larger bass jig. This is a 3/8 ounce jig in a swim jig head, and I have a large power bait chunk on the back. And the way I have that chunk rigged is right through the middle of that bait, so that as I'm working that back to the boat or whatever we're fishing, it really moves back and forth, it wobbles, adds a lot of action. And in a river situation or a lake situation, when you're fishing for smallmouth, they're going to want to eat something that's a little bigger than average sometimes. This is a good option if they're kind of shying away from the smaller baits. This is almost as good as turkey hunting. Oh, another one, Luke. On the jig this time. Love it when the big ones come up. Get the scoop. There we go, buddy. Woo! Nice job. Luke, I told you that bass jig was gonna play.
Absolutely.
He told me this morning, if it's not broke, don't fix it. He knew the Ned rig or the hair jig game was gonna work, but sometimes making a little bit bigger presentation is a good idea to catch fish you may have missed the first time through. But let's talk a little bit about rods and reels and how simple it is to catch these fish.
Absolutely. Let's get that fish back and we'll find another one.
For the bass jig that I just caught a fish on, I've got that on a 7-foot fast medium Abu Garcia Veritas, and I've got that paired with a 641 Abu Garcia Revo baitcaster, and that's a great combination for a lightweight jig anywhere in the country, especially smallmouth here today.
Absolutely. And I'm using a 7-foot medium fast action Venerate rod from Abu Garcia, paired with Revo STX reel, 2000 size. And I love using this, a spinning rod compared to a casting rod with these super light hair jigs and Ned rigs. Sometimes you have to go a little bit smaller on the rivers here for a nice light presentation, and it's kind of hard to throw it with a bait caster. So love running spinning rods, and this is definitely a go-to setup for me.
Oh, Luke,
here's a good one.
Oh boy. Oh, that's a donkey.
Oh,
I'm coming.
That's
I
the
tripped.
smallmouth right there.
Man, Luke, we have just had such a good time with these fish today.
She's not ready yet. Here we go. Look at the shoulders this thing has.
That's a big one, Luke. Oh, buddy.
Nice, dude.
Man, that's the one.
That is what we've been looking for all day.
Man, do I love big smallmouths. And Luke, that is as big as they come around here. What a fantastic fish. This is a great time of year as the fish are preparing to spawn. Downsize your jigs. Use some hair jigs like what Luke has tied on here today. A Ned rig works well, sometimes a bass jig, but you don't have to go big for big fish sometimes. In the river situation, a lot of times, log jams, rock jetties, things like that are gonna hold smallmouth as they're feeding to prepare for the spawn. Get the boat out there and get some small jigs tied on and hang on. It's a lot of fun.
This segment brought to you by Eagle Claw, world's most innovative hook company.